Welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've joined and are part of the connection today. I'm Laurie Fitz, your host, and I'm looking forward to a great conversation about the National ProStart Invitational, which is the country's premier secondary school competition focused on restaurant, management, and the culinary arts. Today, we're going to have just a wonderful group of guests with us today. We'll have National ProStart leaders, Hospitality Minnesota leadership, Minnesota ProStart teachers, Minnesota student champions, and a mentor who has supported our Minnesota champions. In this segment, I have the National ProStart leaders and our CEO and president of Hospitality Minnesota. I'm going to go around our table and have them each share their role with ProStart. I'm going to first call on Amy.
Laurie, thanks so much for having me today. Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Saltzman. I'm the Senior Director of Career and Technical Education at the National Restaurant Association Educational Foundation, and I have the honor and privilege of overseeing the ProStart program on a nationwide level.
Alex.
Thank you, Laurie. I am Alex Diachak. I work with Amy at the National Restaurant Association Ed Foundation. I am the program coordinator for ProStart. Been almost 2.5 years now and loving every minute of it.
And Angie.
Hi, Laurie. Thank you for having me today. My name is Angie Whitcomb. I'm the president and CEO of Hospitality Minnesota and the Hospitality Minnesota Education Foundation, which is the proud supporter and sort of facilitator of the ProStart program here in Minnesota.
I'm so grateful that you're all joining us today. And Amy, I would love to have you kick us off and give us a little background on how ProStart got started and where it is today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Laurie. So ProStart has been in existence since 1997. So we're not too far off from our 30th anniversary, which is really exciting. Way back when industry came to the NRAEF and said, what do we need to do to get individuals who are trained and ready to work in our industry? And how can we connect with the future of the restaurant industry? And that is where ProStart came about. It is a 2-year culinary arts and restaurant management program that is connected to a curriculum, and it is industry backed. We started in 6 schools in Chicago, Illinois, thanks to a generous grant from the federal government with 100 students. So that was back in 1997. And now in 2024, I'm pleased to say that we have over 200,000 students nationwide who take part in the ProStart program at over 2,000 schools. So really just an incredible growth trajectory. We've had over 1 million students go through the program since it was started back in 1997. And we are a small but mighty team at the NRAEF. Not able to join us today is also Senior Manager Erica Garner. So we're a team of 3. Of course, we have the support from the foundation, but we could not do what we do at the national level without support from our state-based partners who implement the program. So partners like Angie and her team who implement the program at the state level.
And Angie, tell us about Minnesota Hospitality and your ProStart program.
So Hospitality Minnesota is the statewide association. We represent hotels, restaurants, obviously, and the resorts and campgrounds. Within our organization lives the Hospitality Minnesota Education Foundation, whose sole purpose is to really develop the next generation of workforce for our industry. So in addition to leading, the ProStart efforts in over 80 schools in our state, we are working on workforce issues and trying to build that talent pipeline from other sources as well, working with community-based organizations in addition to the schools. Our ProStart program, we have over 10,000 of those 200,000 students that Amy was talking about. And like I said, in over 80 schools in the state. And so we started ProStart in 2008 here in Minnesota. Our foundation has proudly awarded nearly $1 million in scholarships to kids graduating from the ProStart program and going on to study hospitality and tourism careers. So we're very proud of that, very proud of the program.
And you had some winners this year. We had Elk River High School that got 3rd place at the Nationals, but also, were winners at the Minnesota competition. And I'd love, Alex, tell us a little bit about
That's
that.
Right, Laurie.
Go for it. Angie, you can finish up your idea and I'll go up to Alex. Okay.
No, I was just going to say I was so proud of these kids.
We're having just a little tiny delay. All is fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Alex and then I'll come back to you, Angie, okay? Alex, tell us about the National ProStart Invitational.
Yeah, so the National ProStart Invitational is essentially composed of two different competitions. So we've got the culinary competition and the management competition. So in culinary, teams of 2 to 5 students have 60 minutes to create 2 complete sets of unique meals consisting of an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. They've got no access to running water or electricity. They're judged on everything from taste and appearance to things like knife skills, work skills, and safety and sanitation. Then there's the management competition, where teams of 2 to 5 students show up having already created a unique restaurant concept that they then pitch to judges. I like to think of it as like Shark Tank, but for restaurants specifically. The level of detail that the kids put into these restaurant concepts is really outstanding. In addition to things like menu and brand, they create a floor plan, an organizational chart, and they have to create 2 distinct marketing tactics. What's more, they not only have to properly cost out those menu items, but their marketing tactics also need to calculate ROI. So groups of judges from things like marketing or HR or critical thinking rotate and listen to each team pitch their concept, and they'll ask them questions about, the concept that they created. So the best teams don't just create a really well thought out concept. They also need to present well, and more than anything, they've just got to know their stuff.
I love it. And Amy, our Angie, just a little while ago mentioned about the scholarship dollars that Minnesota has raised and given over the years. Tell us a little bit about the scholarship and what the Minnesota students will be getting as they're winning 3rd place in the management competition.
Yeah, absolutely. So those incredible students from Elk River High School came up with a fascinating food truck concept for Hong Kong bubble waffles, which sound delicious. And it's also a sustainable concept, eco-friendly. The judges were wowed by their creativity. And in addition to the medals and trophies that they get, they will also have access to scholarships from some of the top post-secondaries around the country, the Culinary Institute of America, amongst them Johnson & Wales University. And the NRAEF also provides $3,500 to each student who placed 3rd in the management competition. What I really appreciate about it is that it's not just those students can use that at any post-secondary for any kind of degree. They are not limited to a degree in hospitality, for example. They can use those dollars wherever they go for whatever it is that they are studying for undergraduate.
Something that I've also been impressed with are the amazing teachers, the ProStart teachers that make it happen with the students. I'd love to have both Alex and Angie share a little bit about those students. I'm going to start with Alex.
Yeah, so ProStart's educators to me are the real heroes of the program. The amount of time and effort that they put into their classrooms and their kitchens is just unbelievable. Minnesota in particular has a lot of involvement in ProStart. We had the pleasure of meeting Monique Savvy, the Elk River High School educator, last year at our inaugural ProStart PD course. She just brings a level of enthusiasm that I think is contagious, and I'm sure her kids all pick up on it.
And we'll be having both Monique and her students in our next segment. Angie, tell us about your relationship with the teachers.
Oh my gosh, Laurie, they make this whole thing possible, right? Alex said it, the time and energy they put in, not only in the classroom, but outside of the classroom, taking the kids on tours of restaurants, giving them truly experiential opportunities. And then the 24 teachers in our state of the 80 that the 24 that go that extra step by having a competition team and committing to practicing. I think ProStart should be considered a sport. I think kids should be able to letter in it. I think those teachers should be considered coaches. The time and energy and resources and practice they put in, it's no different than any of the sporting teams. So that's my new pitch for this.
Go ahead. It's your new pitch for
I just said the Minnesota Education Association. Like, we need to honor these teachers and these students for the work they do.
They are amazing, and you get that sport fever at the National ProStart Invitational as well. There's definitely that sense of excitement, but there's also that wonderful sense of camaraderie and working together, which I love as well. Well, our next segment, as I mentioned, is we'll be hearing from the Minnesota ProStart champions and their teachers. They'll be sharing about their journey to the national competition. And for more information on the National ProStart, the website is chooserestaurants.org. And for our Minnesota, you will find more information on hospitalityminnesota.com/ProStart. And we're going to jump to the next segment now. I want to thank you all for participating, and we're looking forward to hearing more from the students on their journey. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm Laurie Fitz, your host, and we have been having a great conversation about the National ProStart Invitational, which is the country's premier secondary school competition focused on restaurant management and culinary arts. This program is one of many programs developed and run by the National Restaurant Association Educational Foundation. Our Minnesota ProStart champions from Elk River School made Minnesota proud at the national competition. And in this segment, we have Monique Saby, family and consumer science educator and ProStart teacher, as well as Julie Harity Weidenborner, and she also is the family and consumer science educator and ProStart educator. We're so glad to have you both. So I want to welcome you, and it's a pleasure to have you and your team join us. And if you could just say a few words about the full business plan proposal that these students created about the food truck.
Awesome. I will kick us off. First of all, thank you for having us, and we're so excited to be part of the show. The business plan proposal that the kids came up with was a little over a year in development for this. We knew that we wanted to have a proposal for our management team competition, which is similar to a Shark Tank competition. There's the written part, a written proposal, as well as a presentation that goes along with it. We are inspired by the concept that the crew came up with and that they presented. And so both Julie and I helped support that throughout the process. Julie, do you want to tell them a little bit about the proposal?
Sure. The proposal was based on a summer event that the kids went on, and they loved the idea of bubble waffles. So they decided that they wanted to pair that with an environmental friendly concept so that they could be a leader in the industry and in ProStartville. So I'm sure they will be able to talk more about that.
I love bubble waffle. That's fabulous. and I'd love to have the students each share their role in creating that business plan. And we're going to start with Harrison.
My name is Harrison Brandt. I am the team captain of the management team. And on the food truck, I am in charge of operational logistics, which means I run everything from maintenance of the food truck as well as ensuring a safe and sanitary environment on the truck.
And Lucas.
I'm Lucas Larson. On the food truck, I was in charge of food operations, which meant I was in charge of planning the menu for any events in our everyday menu and food prep on the truck. Also, when we were writing up our concept, I was in charge of designing the floor plan and the menu for the truck.
Wonderful. Kyla.
I'm Kyla Sport. I served as the team manager on the team, so I was there to help with timing, and if anybody were to step out or be unable to present, I was there to take their spot.
Wonderful. Cassius.
Yeah, so I'm Cassius. I work mainly on the customer service, so the social media, marketing, as well as designing the interior and the decor of our food truck.
And I had a look at your proposal, and it is beautiful. Very professional. Very top-notch. Loved it all. What I would also like is to have Harrison, why don't you just give us like a short overview of what the proposal was and how you presented it?
Yeah, so it really started when me and my friend Sawyer Hahn, who's on the team but not actually here right now, went on a trip to the British Isles. We really experienced bubble waffles for the first time, and we decided we really have to bring this back to ProStarville as a restaurant concept. So we did some more research into the cuisine of bubble waffles, and we came to the conclusion that's actually a street food in Hong Kong. So that really prompted us to do a food truck instead of your traditional brick and mortar restaurant. The food truck industry is also pretty environmentally pollutant. There's a lot of issues with the diesel from the food trucks and the generators. So that really drove us towards doing a more eco-conscious take on a food truck with our battery packs and our solar panels as well on the food truck.
So professional, so amazing that you were able to pull all that together. I love the research. I love the presentation. I love the concept. I want a bubble waffle. Now, in terms of joys and challenges throughout this process, how did that go for you all? What kind of joys did you have in doing this program? But my guess is there were a few challenges along the way as well.
Yeah, so I'll lead that off with the joys. I think the main thing was that we had such a great group of people. I mean, it was really hard it'd be really hard to have fun doing such a hard, tedious task if you didn't have 4 other people with you, counting your mentor, 7 other people with you that are just pains to be with. I mean, if it wasn't like people that I really enjoyed being around that I was friends with before, then I think that would have been hard to have joy, because there are so many challenges. Like, I mean, you're battling with so many other minds on ideas for this concept, and it gets frustrating. So, yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, and then to really tie into what Cassius said, it's the long hours, the early mornings, the late nights that we're here, putting in the work with our books and our posters and our presentations, and it's really just a great group of people that we're around that make us want to come back and put all this effort in.
How many hours would you say you put into this whole project?
Yeah, so me and Sawyer, who's not here, tried to calculate that, and we think in-person hours, like with the team, somewhere ballpark 200-ish, a little more, maybe a little less, give or take.
And your greatest joy?
Being at Nationals, getting that 3rd place. Yeah.
That is wonderful. Kyla, tell me about your greatest challenge and joy.
I think probably the greatest challenge was just like the early mornings and being here. It was a big commitment, so I think that was a big challenge for us. And then as for joys, I think at Nationals, it was a great experience. We got to meet so many different people. Like, we met higher ups in DirecTV, Ecolab, Yum. So it was great for making connections.
And a shout out to our Minnesota Ecolab.
Yeah, Greg was there for sure.
We have one more, joys and challenge.
So personally, my greatest joy of this whole thing was presenting, because it really took all the hard work that we put into this concept and practicing this presentation, and it was really cool to let it all come into place and just see how amazing we all presented after all that practice. And I think the greatest challenge for me was doing all the research that we put into the concept at the beginning, going around to a bunch of different professionals in different aspects of the industries. It was definitely a big challenge, but it was a good one because we were able to learn a lot, both for the food truck and stuff that'll help us later on in life.
Well, I'm going to jump to the mentor and how you utilize mentors. Tell me a little bit about that. You went to actual restaurants in the Elk River area, didn't you, to help review and support it? Is that true?
Our mentor, Rick Gunsel, he was able to connect us with a lot of good connections, such as Chameleon Concessions, who is one of the leading food truck distributors in the United States, as well as many other food truck owners and restaurant owners that we were able to meet up with and consult about our menu and our truck and our layout. And he really helped us lay the groundwork for our concept.
Tell me more about how the interaction went. Did you just go in and say, this is my concept, or did you have a prepared presentation you would do? Tell me how that relationship was built.
Yeah, so we definitely had a lot of questions that we were looking for answers for, just to fill in some gaps in our concept, because we really wanted to make sure that we knew what we were talking about when we presented our concept. So we had a bunch of questions, and they were all more than willing and helpful to answer our questions, which was really nice. And we definitely built some really good connections with those people.
And what are your future career plans? What are you thinking about after this experience especially? Are you looking to do a restaurant and hospitality career?
Yeah, so I'll lead it off. I do plan on going to college. Being the only junior, I still have that plan. I don't think I'm going to stay in the States like the other people are, but I don't think I'm going to focus on hospitality and that aspect. But the entrepreneurship skills, writing a business concept, is something that I'm for sure going to use 100% in my life. I want to go to Montana State University and major in hospitality management. So I'm kind of keeping it within the same area and field. And I'm going to minor in entrepreneurship with the hope that once I graduate with my degree, I'm going to open up a restaurant.
I'm planning to go to Iowa State University to major in architecture with the hopes in designing restaurants in the future, which is really cool because I was able to meet Neil Sudezar, who is the CEO of DirecTV, also from Minnesota by chance. And
Shakopee.
Yep. And I was able to talk to him, and he heard about this and immediately thought, I know plenty of firms that specialize in restaurant design. Here's my contact info, and I can hook you up and allow you to go job shadow with those firms, and it'll be a really cool experience that'll help me out with my future.
What wonderful networking. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
And Kyla.
Yeah, I'm going to the University of North Dakota. I'm majoring in chemistry on the pre-med route. So I'm not really going towards like hospitality management or anything, but I think that this experience was such a great learning experience. It helped me like with my people skills, my presenting skills, and just like making other connections with people.
Well, if you ever decide with that chemistry background that you want to go into some food research, I know that there's some really good organizations out there that would love to have bright and talented minds like yours.
Yeah.
All right. I also want to know a little bit more about how the competition went for you at Minnesota. And then we can talk a little bit about national. We've been sort of talking about national, but I'd love to hear about how it went at Minnesota as well.
Yeah, so it's definitely a little bit different than what we were expecting when we first originally looked at the rules and looked at everything. But we were all very prepared. We're constantly just memorizing our presentations and doing them over and over just in hopes to really lock down and make it all turn out really well.
Who did you present to? Were there more than one judge, or what was the group like that you needed to present your business plan to?
Well, at State, there was 3 different panels of judges, one for concept and marketing, one for concept and menu, and then one for operations and marketing, and another for critical thinking. And then when it went off to nationals, it branched into 6 panels of judges that we presented to, one for each of those categories that I mentioned earlier. So the jump from State to nationals was definitely a big one, and we had to tweak our presentations for that.
And for that, did you usually just have one person present to that judge with that area of expertise?
No, so there's a rubric. There's a rubric we followed with different bullet points for every like subcategory in, let's say, marketing, and each of us would usually cover a bullet point or 2 in that, just to hit some teamwork points as well.
And if you could tell me what would be the best thing that came out of the Minnesota State Championship, besides, of course, winning, what would that be?
From the state competition, we were able to get a lot of good feedback from the judges that helped us put more work into the concept and make a bunch of changes that I think helped elevate our presentation at nationals.
And I understand some of you are also on the culinary team.
Yeah.
So me
Tell
and
us
Lucas. Oh yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Just tell us a little bit about the culinary team and how that went as well.
So me and Lucas are both on the culinary team. We have to create 3 separate dishes as like a 3-course meal. And we have an hour to do that with no electricity, no running water. We only have 2 butane burners, little portable ones. So it's definitely like a really big, it's my first year on the culinary team. So it's a really big learning curve of going from these massive stoves and ovens to this tiny little burner. And I have to cook all of my stuff in under an hour.
Yeah. And I was the captain of the culinary team this year. And it was my 3rd year on the culinary team. And 2 years ago, on my first year on the team when I was a sophomore, we actually won state for that and got to go compete in nationals in DC that time. So this was my 2nd trip to nationals, which was really cool. But balancing culinary and management team was definitely a big task, but I think it was definitely worth it. And a lot of the things that I learned from being a part of the culinary team definitely transferred over to management team and helped me bring forth some knowledge that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
Terrific. Tell me, what did you fix for your culinary competition? What were your 3 menu items?
Yeah, so we had I'll start off with the starter. We had seasoned ahi tuna with a sauteed bok choy, and then like a little bit like a mango, what else was it? Like mango cucumber salad on the side. And it was really all tied together with kind of like a spicy Korean sauce.
Yeah. And I was in charge of making the entree, which was a pan-seared bison sirloin, a creamy polenta, and a succotash, all tied together with a cherry balsamic. And
for the dessert, we had a pâte sucrée rosemary tart with blueberry compote, lemon curd, and then we had a hand-whipped Italian meringue on top. So that was definitely a way to showcase our skills without electricity, for sure.
Sounds delicious. Kyla, tell me about managing the team, and what advice would you give to managers that are going to be managing next year?
Yeah, so, I mean, this group of boys was definitely very different because it was all boys, and so they kind of got coined as the boy band. So I was their manager, and I just, it's like you just have to show up and, be there and just, offer any support that you can. And, a big part of it is, keeping your timing and then just, being there in case anything goes wrong.
Timing is essential. You get points taken off if you go over, and that can really hurt your chances for winning, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you guys feel like she prepared you well?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. She definitely did.
A good taskmaster. I love it.
Yeah.
And what advice do you all have to folks that are getting ready to do it next year? What advice do you have in terms of preparing both for the management as well as for the culinary?
Yeah, so for the management, the biggest thing that I took away from it is to not judge your success off of the trophy that you get, or if you get first place or anything, but judge your success off the people that you meet, the knowledge that you gain, the skills that you learn, and all of those things tied together. Like the people that we met at nationals, skills we learned through building a business concept, and that's more valuable to me than that third place finish at nationals.
Wonderful. Harrison?
For culinary and management, it's kind of true, but I feel like the biggest key to success is you're realizing you're going to make these mistakes when you're cooking or presenting or anything, but you have to learn from your mistakes, and then you have to move on because you can't let it drag you down.
Just like back of the house in any restaurant.
Yeah.
Got to keep it going.
And my biggest thing for both management and culinary team was feeling like a team, really having that team bonding, feeling more like a family than anything, where if we do make those mistakes, like Harrison mentioned, we're able to lift each other back up and keep moving forward and keep doing the best that we can.
Now, you said, the scholarship was nice, but the scholarship was really nice. I understand you all won $3,500 each in scholarships. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that and how you're going to use it?
Yeah, so that scholarship money is luckily transferable to any school. Like I said briefly earlier, I don't plan on going to a college in the United States. So I'm hoping to find a way to transfer it out to a non-United States college, hopefully in the Scandinavian area, and use my money over there.
Terrific.
So I'm just probably going to end up transferring it to Montana State and then just using it to really get work towards my degree.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a big help having that go towards my freshman year of college. It'll take a big load of stress off my back, so I won't have to worry as much about the finances, and I can more so just move into getting comfortable in college and getting used to that environment so I can learn the best that I can.
I'm going to be paying for my college on my own, so it's definitely going to be a big relief and less debt in the future, especially if I go to as much school as I'm thinking. So it'll just really help like my freshman year, getting on my feet, not having to focus on anything other than just schooling.
And Julie and Monique, do you have anything that you'd like to add after all the wonderful sharing that our students, our champions, have shared today? Any closing comments for us?
Julie, do you want to kick us off?
I am just so proud of these young men and lady who have really just dedicated their heart in this. They've dedicated themselves to each other and to the concept, and they really were tied to the concept and really doing their very best. How they supported each other. They've gone through some difficult things, and they just came out as champions, whether it was a trophy or not. In my eyes, they will always be champions.
Yes. And just to add on to that, over the years in hospitality, really this is what it's all about. The support of a family, supporting each other, just like all the connections that we make in the industry and being able to tie it back. This opportunity would not have happened had it not been for Hospitality Minnesota, the judges that are there giving up their time, the mentors that are in the industry, whether it's Chameleon Concessions or Performance Foods, meeting with their social media. So I truly feel like this competition embodies all realm, from National Restaurant Association to our state level, to our ProStart schools, to the entire community. And that's what we want in our industry. So kudos for the team to bring it all together. And in addition to that, they're going to carry these skills through the rest of their life. So we set them up a foundation, and we're just excited to hear what the next chapter of their life brings as a result of all their time that they've committed, and just feeling they're in a good space, knowing that our Restaurant Association has supported them through these very formative years.
And our junior year representative, are you going to do it next year?
Yeah, so I haven't completely decided if I'm going to do it again next year. I don't know if I'm planning or if I'm going to still be going to Elk River High School. Some changes going on in my life, moving away possibly. So, but hopefully, as of right now, I'm planning on doing it again next year and hoping to look for a good bunch of people to do it with.
Well, I hope you do too. We'd love to see you back at National.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for your hard work and dedication. You really are the future career force of the restaurant industry, and it's inspiring to spend time for you. And for our listening audience, if you want more information about the ProStart program and other terrific programs offered by the National Restaurant Association Educational Foundation, you can go to chooserestaurants.org. And be sure to sign up for emails and stay connected. There's a Stay Connected section where you can put your email in and you'll get regular newsletters. And thank you to Harrison, Lucas, Kyla, and Cassius for sharing your journey with us, and for Monique and Julie for sticking around to share more information about this. And for our next segment, we will be featuring the educators' support, and we'll learn more about their journey as well. So thank you for making it happen. Elk River High School ProStart program. One more time. Elk River High School ProStart program. We'll be right back. back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm Laurie Fitz, your host, and today we've been talking about ProStart program and the National ProStart Invitational, which is the country's premier secondary school competition focused on restaurant management and culinary arts. In this segment, we're going to be talking with the Minnesota ProStart teacher, our own Hospitality Minnesota CEO and president, and a wonderful mentor who has been supporting our 2024 Minnesota ProStart team and even longer. He's been doing it for years. So I'm going to go around the table and have each of them share their role with ProStart. And I'm going to start with Monique.
Hi, Monique Savy, and back again after visiting with the students. So my role is a ProStart educator. So under that umbrella comes a family consumer science teacher and a CTE or career and technical education teacher as well.
And a teacher that is loved by her team, that I can tell you.
They're kind of lovable kids, as you can probably tell. They're easy to love for sure.
And Angie.
Hi, Laurie. I'm Angie Whitcomb. I am the president and CEO of Hospitality Minnesota and the Hospitality Minnesota Education Foundation, which is where ProStart lives here in the state.
Wonderful. And Rick.
Rick Gunstall. I'm the mentor to the Elk River High School team. I've been in the restaurant industry for 44 years.
Terrific. Well, I'm going to start it off with Monique. And, I would love to have you share with us why ProStart is important.
Right. It could take me a while because there are so many great things about ProStart. I've been teaching for a number of years, and it was in 2011 when I came to Elk River High School and learned a little bit about the ProStart program that I would take over after I was mentored in by a former teacher that was going on retirement. My eyes were wide open that first year in 2011. We actually were in Baltimore, like we were again this year. The wonderful part of the program is the connection with the industry, the mentors, the professionalism. There hasn't been anything that I have done in my teaching career that is authentic as the learning that happens with ProStart. I think our Hospitality Minnesota and our National Restaurant Association has done a wonderful job of giving students opportunities to not only study under mentors, but actually compete and get engaged in the subject matter that we have. So truly, it's a 2-year curriculum that we go through with our students. Here at Elk River High School, we definitely take it to the full extreme. Our students run a student-run restaurant, as well as compete in the culinary and management side of competitions. So we are ProStart through and through, and the benefits for the students of the program, we talk in CT a lot about soft skills. Our students become leaders in ProStart. It truly is a professional start that they are getting. Many of them are entering into the food industry, but even if they don't do that, they're gaining skills that will take them through the remainder of their life. And we still hear back from those graduates that said, ProStart meant everything to me. So really, the students speak volume about the program, and that's why we do ProStart. It's so important for that authentic learning for our students.
And they get the chance to work with mentors. Rick and Monique, share with me about the mentor role.
Well, I appreciate the question. I guess we met about 7 years ago, I think, at a Hospitality Minnesota event. And I've been in the business for quite some time. I'd owned and operated several restaurants at the time. And I think at that point I had sold my operation and was looking to partner up with the ProStart organization because it's such a great opportunity to kind of share my knowledge with students and develop young professionals in our industry that I just absolutely adore. I'm still I sold my restaurant 7 years ago, but I still do some business brokering that specializes in hospitality, and I really believe in the program and want to see the industry succeed. And I think there's no better way to kind of pass along what I've learned to young people and watch them develop, and I get a great kick out of it. I don't think kick's a great. I get more than a great kick out of it, to be honest with you. I think I really do equate it to, I get as much pleasure from helping these kids throughout the year as I did ever developing a concept to see it to fruition. So, I mean, this is the best of both worlds for me. I get to, help a new group every year and watch them grow, and I get a lot of pleasure out of it, and I know they get a lot out of it too. And it really, I think, what is for me personally, I think we all look to see how our legacy is going to be presented, for future generations. And I think for me, this is really important to me. This is how I'm going to, better help the industry and the people involved in it and the people I touch. So.
And Rick, I understand you're not only giving of yourself, but you're a great connector in helping to get other people involved and support with the food truck concept.
Right. I owned a food truck, and I actually spent 8 years working at that facility that builds food trucks. But but every year I think our concept's a little bit different. I've always prided myself. If I don't know the answer, I know somebody that does. And this restaurant business is all about relationships, and certainly through Hospitality Minnesota, I was able to develop quite a few fantastic relationships. So there really isn't a concept or something where I don't have a resource to go to. It's a very tight group of operators in Minnesota, and we all try to help each other out, and certainly have met enough people over the last 44 years to provide some assistance to these kids. So it's and everybody I talk to is very supportive about helping out and participating, and they're just as proud of our team as I am, knowing that they had a contribution towards it. So it's not hard to find people to help. I think once they realize what we're trying to do, they're very helpful. Everybody likes to talk about themselves and what they know, so it's really not that hard.
And Monique, I know you want to do some special shout out thank yous, and I wanted to make sure we had time for that.
For sure. In addition to Rick Rick Gunsel being our mentor, we have Taylor Van Houten, who works with Culver's. She was actually on the first team that we mentored together that went to nationals. So she's a general manager at Culver's. So she comes in and helps and assists with critical thinking with the kids. The contacts are that's the magic that Rick can bring in. Doing a project like a management team, you can Google different things and get different resources, but you get a different outcome. So Rick really encourages the legwork. We're going to go on site, and I'm going to show you how a food truck is constructed. Here is where the business is. If you want to know about the battery powers, well, we have to make sure that it works. So it's more than just a project where the kids are viewing it from the outside. Our students are fully immersed into that because of Rick and Taylor, all of our other mentors, like Rick said, that offer their time, and we're so thankful. Kind of tying back into that first segment about the family. When you are in the restaurant industry, you are part of a bigger family, and the support just continues on. And so we can't do what we do with students without the help of all the mentors and all the people that add to the magic of the concept.
And Angie, I'm going to let you wrap up this segment with sharing a little bit about how you're planning for the 2025 Hospitality Minnesota ProStart.
Laurie, the date is set. It will be March 13th, 2025, the St. Paul River Center, and we will spend the next several months working with our competing schools, making sure that they are ready. And we're actually recruiting more schools to try to get more competition at our state level. More schools at the party means just it raises the bar for everyone. So we're excited. We'll spend the next several months getting ready and see who we're taking to Baltimore with us next year.
Well, I want to thank you for spending time with us, and I appreciate our listening audience for joining us. And I want them to know that if you want to learn more about our wonderful ProStart program and the Elk River High School state champions, who won third place, yay, at national and first place in Minnesota. You can go to our various websites. There's chooserestaurants.org for the national ProStart. And then for Minnesota, we have hospitalityminnesota.com/ProStart. So thank you all. Appreciate it. And we'll be looking forward to hearing more about the 2025, and we'll have you all back for that as well. Take care and have a great day.
We'll be there.